Most lifters have experienced it. You take a high-stim pre-workout, feel wired and ready to attack the weights. But when you start training, your muscles don't feel as full and engorged as they usually do. That pump sensation seems muted, even though your heart is racing and your focus is dialed in. This paradox raises an important question. Why would something designed to boost performance diminish one of the most motivating feelings in the gym? In this talk, we'll unpack the physiology behind the pump, the role of nitric oxide and vasodilation, what stimulants do inside your body, and how these signals compete. We'll also discuss dosing strategies and formula design to help you maximize both energy and pump. To start, let's define what a muscle pump actually is. A muscle pump isn't just a catchy term. It's the temporary swelling of muscle fibers caused by increased blood flow and accumulation of fluid and metabolites. When I perform repeated contractions, my blood vessels dilate and more blood rushes into the working muscles, delivering oxygen and nutrients. At the same time, metabolites like lactate and hydrogen ions build up, drawing water into the cells and creating that tight, full sensation. This pump is transient and often described as pleasurable because it signifies that the muscles are being challenged. Understanding that the pump relies on vasodilation and fluid shifts helps explain why certain ingredients enhance it. Next, we'll dive into the molecule at the heart of vasodilation, nitric oxide. Nitric oxide, NO, is a gaseous signaling molecule synthesized in the endothelium from the amino acid L-arginine or from dietary nitrates. Once produced, NO diffuses into the surrounding smooth muscle cells and activates an enzyme that increases cyclic GMP. The rise in cGMP leads to relaxation of the vascular smooth muscle, causing the blood vessels to widen. When vessels dilate, more blood can flow through, delivering oxygen and nutrients to the working muscle fibers and enhancing waste removal. This increased circulation underpins both the pump feeling and improved endurance. Many pump ingredients work by boosting NO production or mimicking its effects. To understand how, let's look at how common pump ingredients operate. Pump ingredients come in a few categories. L-citrulline is converted to L-arginine in the kidneys and then to nitric oxide, effectively raising NO levels more reliably than taking arginine itself. Nitrates from beetroot and leafy greens bypass this conversion by being reduced directly to nitrate and then to NO in the blood. Glycerol acts differently. It increases the osmotic pressure in the blood and draws extra water into the muscle cells, a process sometimes called hyperhydration. When combined, these ingredients promote vasodilation, increase plasma volume, and support longer-lasting pumps. Understanding their mechanisms sets the stage for exploring what stimulants do and why they sometimes seem to oppose these effects. Stimulants like caffeine, synephrine, and yohimbine work by activating the sympathetic branch of your autonomic nervous system. This fight-or-flight activation releases catecholamines, adrenaline, and noradrenaline into your bloodstream. These hormones increase your heart rate, elevate blood pressure, and sharpen mental focus. That's why a high-stim pre-workout makes you feel energized and ready to lift heavier weights or push harder on a run. However, these same catecholamines also instruct certain blood vessels to narrow. To understand the full picture, we need to look at the sympathetic nervous system and the balance between vasoconstriction and vasodilation. The sympathetic nervous system is one of two branches of the autonomic nervous system and controls the body's involuntary fight-or-flight responses. When I encounter stress or take stimulants, sympathetic nerves signal my adrenal glands to release epinephrine and norepinephrine. These hormones prime my body for rapid action by increasing heart rate, constricting certain blood vessels, and mobilizing energy stores. This response is beneficial when I need to generate force quickly, but it also means that my vascular tone changes in ways that might oppose the vasodilation needed for a strong pump. Next, we'll examine the process of vasoconstriction and how it fits into this picture. Vasoconstriction refers to the narrowing of blood vessel diameter when alpha-adrenergic receptors on the smooth muscle cells lining the arteries are stimulated by catecholamines. The muscle contracts and the vessel's lumen becomes smaller. This increases blood pressure and redirects blood away from non-essential areas, such as the skin or digestive tract, toward vital organs and working muscles. In the context of high-stim pre-workouts, vasoconstriction helps support quick bursts of force, but can also make it harder for pump ingredients to widen vessels. To see how this plays out in practice, let's look specifically at caffeine's effects on blood flow. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors in the brain, which normally signal your body to rest. When adenosine is blocked, neural firing increases and catecholamine release is stimulated. In moderate amounts, this leads to a manageable increase in heart rate and alertness. However, studies show that at high doses, caffeine can reduce blood flow to the heart and peripheral limbs by causing vasoconstriction. During rest, this effect is minimal, but during exercise, high doses attenuate the normal increase in blood flow to muscles. This is one reason why some lifters feel less pump when they take large amounts of caffeine. Now let's explore the tug of war between pump and stim signals. When I take a pre-workout containing both pump ingredients and stimulants, my body receives competing signals. L-citrulline, nitrates, and glycerol are telling my blood vessels to relax and allow more blood into the muscle, creating hyperemia. At the same time, catecholamines from caffeine, synephrine, or yohimbine are telling my vessels to constrict, redirecting blood and increasing pressure. The outcome of this tug of war depends on the doses and timing of each ingredient, as well as my individual physiology. If vasodilation wins, I feel a big pump and great endurance. If vasoconstriction dominates, I feel wired but flat. Let's consider whether caffeine alone is enough to kill a pump. The question many lifters ask is whether caffeine kills your pump. The answer is nuanced. High doses of caffeine, generally above 400 milligrams, can blunt vasodilation and reduce blood flow to working muscles, especially when combined with other vasoconstrictive stimulants. However, moderate doses rarely eliminate the pump entirely because local mechanisms in the muscle override systemic vasoconstriction. Genetics, tolerance, and hydration also play a role. Some people are more sensitive to caffeine's vascular effects than others. Additionally, the presence of strong pump ingredients can offset moderate stimulant doses. To understand how much is too much, we need to look at dose-dependent effects. Stimulant effects follow a dose-response curve. At low doses, caffeine and similar compounds deliver a subtle performance boost with minimal side effects. When I increase the dose to a moderate level, I experience strong energy, sharper focus, and some vasoconstriction, but it's generally manageable. If I push into high doses, particularly above 9 mg per kilogram of body weight, the benefits plateau, while side effects like jitters, anxiety, elevated blood pressure, and pronounced vasoconstriction increase. This is the point at which a pump can be significantly reduced. Staying in the low to moderate range allows me to enjoy the benefits without sacrificing blood flow. We should also consider how blood flow is redirected within the body during sympathetic activation. When the sympathetic nervous system is activated, blood vessels in the skin and digestive organs constrict, reducing blood flow in those areas. This redirection shunts more blood to the skeletal muscles, which need oxygen and nutrients during exercise. Importantly, local signals in the muscles, such as nitric oxide and metabolites produced during contraction, can override systemic vasoconstriction. This means that even under sympathetic stimulation, blood flow to the muscles can still increase, especially when pump ingredients amplify local vasodilatory signals. Understanding this nuance helps explain why I can still get a good pump with moderate stimulants. Now let's explore how local vasodilators ensure you can still achieve a pump on stims. During a set, my working muscles release local vasodilators like nitric oxide, adenosine, and metabolites that act directly on nearby vessels. These local signals are stronger in the muscle microenvironment than systemic vasoconstrictive signals, particularly at moderate stimulant doses. That's why I often still experience a pump even after taking caffeine. Pump ingredients like L-citrulline and nitrates further enhance these local vasodilatory signals, magnifying the effect. As long as stimulant doses remain moderate, the balance tips in favor of the pump. But when stimulant doses become excessive or additional vasoconstrictive compounds are added, the balance can shift. Let's examine when high stims start to reduce the pump. If I take more than 400 milligrams of caffeine or pair it with potent alpha-adrenergic agonists like synephrine or yohimbine, systemic vasoconstriction can become dominant. Under these conditions, my blood vessels constrict more strongly, lowering the blood volume that can enter the muscle. I may feel jittery, anxious, and overstimulated, and my performance can decline despite feeling wired. In addition, high doses can impair fine motor control and lead to rapid heart rate and elevated blood pressure. It's clear that overstimulation not only diminishes the pump, but also introduces health risks. The solution lies in formula design, which we'll cover next. Well-designed pre-workout formulas strike a balance between energy and pump. They typically include a moderate dose of caffeine around 150 to 250 milligrams, paired with 6 to 10 grams of L-citrulline and substantial nitrates to drive vasodilation. Some formulas also include glycerol for hyperhydration. Importantly, they avoid stacking multiple vasoconstrictive stimulants. Transparent labeling allows me to know exactly how much of each ingredient I'm consuming. Choosing formulas that prioritize clinically supported doses of pump ingredients while keeping stimulant levels moderate ensures I get the best of both worlds. To fine-tune this balance, let's look at dosing guidelines for pump ingredients. Research supports specific dose ranges for pump ingredients. Pure L-citrulline or 8 grams of citrulline malate should be dosed between 6 and 10 grams per serving to significantly boost nitric oxide production. Dietary nitrates about 400 to 800 milligrams can be consumed via beetroot juice or concentrated nitrate salts. This equates to roughly 500 milliliters of beet juice. Glycerol should be taken in doses of 1 to 2 grams, along with plenty of water around 20 ounces, to create a hyperhydrated state. Meeting these thresholds helps maximize vasodilation and fluid shift, ensuring a pronounced pump even in the presence of moderate stimulants. Next, we'll explore what balanced pre-workout formulas look like. Balanced pre-workout formulas keep caffeine in the 150 to 250 milligram range to provide energy and focus without excessive constriction. They pair that with robust pump ingredients like 6 to 10 grams of citrulline and sufficient nitrates for endurance and blood flow. Transparent labels are crucial, so I know I'm getting clinical doses rather than proprietary blends. Such formulas deliver sustainable energy, enhanced mental clarity, and a strong pump, supporting both strength and hypertrophy sessions. However, even the best formula must be tailored to individual needs, which we'll discuss next when we address user differences. Two lifters can take the same pre-workout and have very different experiences. Genetic differences in catecholamine receptors and caffeine metabolism enzymes influence how sensitive I am to stimulants. My history of stimulant use also alters tolerance. Regular caffeine consumers often need higher doses to feel the same effect. Hydration status and muscle mass affect how I perceive the pump. Dehydrated muscles simply can't engorge as well, while larger muscle groups may produce a more noticeable pump. For these reasons, experimentation is key. I start with lower stimulant doses and adjust upward cautiously, paying attention to how my body feels. Next, let's see how training style further influences the balance between pump and stims. The type of workout I'm doing plays a major role in how stimulants and pump ingredients affect me. Heavy, low-rep strength sets rely largely on neural drive and motor unit recruitment. Stimulants can be helpful here without a significant pump being necessary. High-rep, hypertrophy-focused sets depend more on metabolic stress and blood flow to create that swelling sensation. So pump ingredients matter more and excessive stimulants can detract. Conditioning sessions like circuits or cardio require sustained blood flow and energy delivery. Here, finding the right balance is especially important because both vasodilation and moderate stimulation can help performance. Recognizing these distinctions informs how I structure my supplementation. Finally, let's talk about practical strategies to find that balance. To dial in my pre-workout routine, I begin with a caffeine dose of about 2 to 3 milligrams per kilogram of body weight. From there, I increase gradually if needed, staying mindful of my total daily intake. I choose formulas that provide 6 to 10 grams of citrulline and adequate nitrates to support blood flow. Staying hydrated is essential. Even the best pump ingredients can't do their job if I'm dehydrated. Finally, I listen to my body and track my performance and how I feel. If my pump feels flat or I'm jittery, I adjust the stimulant dose or try a different formula. With these guidelines, I can tailor my approach to my goals. Let's recap the key takeaways. In closing, remember that pump ingredients and stimulants send opposing vascular signals. Nitric oxide boosters and osmotic agents promote vasodilation and muscle fullness, while stimulants activate the sympathetic nervous system and favor vasoconstriction. Moderate caffeine paired with clinically dosed pump ingredients allows me to enjoy both energy and pump. Pushing stimulant doses too high or stacking multiple vasoconstrictive compounds blunts vasodilation and increases the risk of jitters, anxiety, and cardiovascular strain. The right balance depends on my training style, genetic sensitivity, and tolerance. By choosing transparent formulas and experimenting with dosages, I can customize my pre-workout routine to get the pump and performance I want without unnecessary risks.